Hey, what's up? And welcome in to Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Thanks so much for downloading the podcast and checking us out on YouTube as well. YouTube.com. Look for Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment to everything that we have here for Under the Hood post-game show. We'll hear from my crazy cousin Wiley in a moment. Please put your comments in the chat. We've got super chats as well. If you get your super chat in, we'll put your comment or your question at the top. As the Chicago Bears, they lose to the LA Rams by a score of 20-17, ending the season for the Bears. And our podcast is presented by Southwest Airlines. Yes, Southwest Airlines. Let me just tell you, you talk about the airline of choice for yours truly, Jonathan Hood. At Southwest, we give you the power to control your Rapid Rewards balance. If your balance needs a little love, you can always buy Rapid Rewards points anytime. But if it doesn't stop there, you could always gift or transfer your points to others or donate them to charity. Talk about making someone's day. Southwest Airlines. Make sure you go to the link in the bio of our podcast and check it out. And I really appreciate you doing that as we talk about the Bears and their loss against the Rams. Boy, I tell you what, this was a game in which the Bears should have been able to win, but they ran out of time and ran out of plays. There's a lot to break down here, but one thing for sure, Caleb Williams is that dude. To even be in overtime, to be able to have an opportunity to win that football game, we'll start there by celebrating Caleb Williams. All the questions about Caleb Williams going into this season, talking about what he wasn't, or what he is, or how he's not aesthetically pleasing to people. Caleb Williams is that dude. We've seen many times this season, including tonight, plays that we've never seen before or plays that quarterbacks would never think of. A dude is going backwards 25 yards with a whole defense coming at him, and he just flings the football up, and then Cole Kmet catches it just to tie the football game. That just shows you how special Caleb Williams is that this whole team, this whole season was never say die. And you never believe the Bears are out of it until you see zeros on the clock, or in this situation, a game-winning field goal for the Rams. But hats off, number one, to Caleb Williams for keeping the Bears in a lot of ball games this year, including this one against the LA Rams, as we bring in my cousin Wiley here as we talk about the Bears and their loss against the Rams. Cuzzo, that's a tough loss, especially when you had an opportunity to win the football game. But, man, hats off to Caleb Williams and hats off to that defense. They did a lot to keep the Bears in the ball game.
It's tough, Cuzzo. It was there for the winning, and we threw an interception. I'm not sure why, but we threw an interception. Defense played well. Caleb was clutch on that last drive in the fourth quarter. And I guess we just ran out of magic in the end. But tough loss. Tough loss.
No, I mean, it's very difficult when you have an opportunity to win the football game and you just run out of plays. There's so many things that happen in this game that we need to discuss, especially when you are Colston Loveland, when you're Luther Burden, when you're a number of guys. The whole thought coming into the game, the theme of it was, it's going to be cold out there. Well, we know it's going to be cold. It's going to be cold for the Rams and for the Chicago Bears. But there were so many drop passes out there and so many opportunities that were missed for the Bears that even with the missed passes and the passes that were right on the money, but unfortunately we had receivers that dropped passes. Even with those mistakes, still the Bears had a chance to win that football game. And so when we look at the offense, the offense, I would have liked for them to score more than the 17 points that they scored. But I want to make sure, before we really get into this thing, to be able to give the defense a lot of credit, because the defense that has been much maligned, that has underachieved, that has not done a great job for a lot of the season, they came to play and they kept the offense in the game. There was plays we haven't seen all season from that secondary. And one of the things we talked about going into the game, Cuzzo, is that how the Bears, and a lot of teams try to blitz Stafford, and he excels at the blitz. Not tonight. The secondary got after Matt Stafford. They sacked him, they rushed him, they made him uncomfortable, and so the Bears defense kept the Bears in this football game. And again, you still fell short. A lot of things went right except the scoreboard.
No, the defense really played well. The defense, I believe, forced the Rams to punt 6 or 7 times. If you just told me coming to this game the Bears defense will force 6 or 7 punts, I would have thought we would have won in a blowout fashion. But on the flip side of that, we had receivers who should have been acclimated to the code drop 7 or 8 passes in the game, and I believe Cousin Loveland led the pack with 3 drops. So there was a lot of missed opportunities on offense. Possibly the aggressiveness of Ben Johnson came back to bite him in the end because of the he left points on the field by going for it on 4th down. We couldn't gain 1 yard multiple times with our running backs, which was really disappointing. And yeah, so if I'm pointing fingers in this game, it was mostly at the offense for the inability to run the ball and to catch the ball. Because if they do those things, we're talking about an easy win. Odunze, easy touchdown, drops it. We end up with 0 points on that first drive. So the first drive should have ended with a touchdown. We get 0 because Odunze drops on the ball. And Odunze has been dropping balls all season, which when you're looking at a top 10 wide receiver in the draft, you expect him to catch the ball, especially on critical downs. And he dropped another one. So it was frustrating to watch the offense just squander drive after drive, and then the defense just try to find a way to duct tape things together and, make some noise, and we end up losing in the end because possibly, again, I'm not sure, DJ Moore had no clue what was going on, and he didn't give effort on the pass because somehow he didn't see the ball, but his defender saw the ball. His defender made a play on the ball and intercepted the ball at the end of the game. So not sure what happened there. I'm hoping for some clarity from Ben Johnson or someone else, but to see that drive end in that fashion was frustrating. I would have preferred miss a kick.
I mean, in that spot, I think that Santos could probably get the field goal. I mean, but unless you at least you try to attempt in that spot. This play you're talking about, this drive that we're talking about, is Kmet with the first down, where Swift is -3, 2nd and 13, Moore with a tremendous catch. Now it's 3rd and 4. Williams runs for the first down. He hesitated sometimes, Caleb, to run the football. Hey, man, if you don't see anything, go ahead and run. It's okay. No one's going to say this guy's a running quarterback. He can do it all, clearly, because we've seen it this year. Kyle Monangai with +6. Swift with a 2nd and 4. He's behind the sticks. 3rd and 6, Kmet gets you close with 4th and inches. Williams sneaks the ball. Kyle Monangai with +2. The interception on 2nd and 8. It's the 3rd of the night for Caleb Williams. As they looked at that, what you were talking about, Cuzzo, I don't know why Moore stopped running. I mean, the ball was going to him. It's a good play for Moore because he's out in space. He has an opportunity to catch that ball, I think, running to his left, and he just kind of slowed up on the play, and there was the interception. And I don't know why DJ Moore stopped running in that spot. Again, I mean, we're talking about this play. This is not me going after him for what he did, because he's still a tough son of a bitch out there for sure, one of the toughest players on the field. But there was a mental lapse or a breakdown between Caleb and his receivers out there where DJ Moore stopped running toward the ball. And so I have no idea why that happened. That was frustrating to watch for sure.
Yeah, even if you don't catch the ball, make a play to make sure the defender doesn't catch the ball, so you can at least live to play another down. And instead, it was like, again, I'm not sure what happened, but he didn't give the effort you would expect for a guy of his caliber to give in that situation. So I thought Loveland had a really poor game. And I'm being honest, I was surprised by that, because here's a guy who played for national championships, won a national championship. So he's used to big moments in playoff games. And I don't know, his hands were not there. His head was not there, because there was the second interception by Caleb where he thought it was man, but it was zone. So he ran a route. He shouldn't have run for man, and by him not running the wrong route, his defender just sags off and easy interception. So it was a tough night. A tough night.
You're talking about the play calling too. And by the way, leave your comments in the chat. We have super chats as well. We'll put you right to the top with our super chats. We're going to hear from Ben Johnson, head coach, and a little bit as well for his last press conference of the season as the Bears lose to the Rams 20-17. So you were talking about Coach Johnson. So, because I think it's strange because it's not like this is the first time we've seen this. So Benedict gets an opportunity to catch the football. Horrible fucking choice. Okay, let's just go there. You have 3 tight ends. Who are you fooling with Benedict? Does he have the speed to, if he does catch the ball, to go down the sideline and rumble for a touchdown? So I don't even know why he's in the play right now in that spot. Benedict, it is in out of his hands. It's to me, it was a wasted down to have Benedict in the offensive game plan. Don't know why they did that. But then Caleb runs for 26 yards, finally coming through and getting that 26 yards. A tough-ass first down for Kyle Monangai. A tough catch for Odunze. That roughing the passer penalty. Oh, we finally get one of those, huh? I mean, even before Justin Fields, we never got a roughing the passer penalty because our quarterback's so freaking athletic. Finally, we get that call because of Jared Verse. But then you get to first and goal. And to your point, first and goal, Swift. Second and goal, Swift. Third and goal, Swift. And Swift tried to jump over the top of Lake and almost got his head taken off by trying to leap. That's a veteran running back, man. You're not 21. He tried to leap over Lake to try to get a touchdown. Could not do that. And then that incomplete to Burton on 4th and goal. So you ran it 3 times. So, and then you try to get a pass inside underneath to Burton, and then you turn the ball over. So you had 3 timeouts. You didn't want to think about it, right? No timeout. Didn't want to just think about, hey, what do you want to do here in this spot? Not going to mix it up with a fade to the outside into the end zone. Just straight ahead running to try to get it in there for a touchdown. We respect DeAndre Swift. We respect Monangai. That's not someone that you put in there and just say, ram it in there 4 times or 3 times that you're going to score, especially against that defensive front. Some teams, yes. The Rams, no. So to your point, not a lot of imagination at times from Ben Johnson.
No, it wasn't. And then here's the other problem, because at the goal line, you're running 3 times with Swift. That's probably a spot for Monangai. And then we move Tooney to the outside, but we can only run to the right. So the Rams are aware, like, hey, they're running to the right 95% of the time. Yeah. So let's overload the right on runs, and we're probably going to stop them. And they were having success at that. The Bears ran, I believe, the first 17 runs, 15 of them went to the right side.
That's correct.
And one of the 2 that went to the left was Swift cutting back to go left. It wasn't a play designed to the left. It was him making a cut back to go left. Like, that is bad play calling. That's bad preparation. And then Ben Johnson, again, I'm not sure how many times we passed up on points, but even on the first drive when Dunze drops the ball, take the 3 points. Start the game with a score instead of, another turnover on down. So that was disappointing, because if we go back to week 2, week 2 of the season. So we've played, what was that? We played a total of 19 games this season. Since week 2, we have 1 opening drive that starts with a touchdown, and only 3 opening drives that register points. So that's 4 opening drives since week 2. That's 17 games of drives that we scored points on 4 of those games, and only 1 of those games we had a touchdown. That's a problem with preparation for the opening drive, because you can't start every game in your opening drive not scoring points. And again, we did it tonight when we had the opportunity to get points after the Dunze drop. We said, you know what, on 4th and I think 3 or 4, let's go for it again. And that ended in a turnover.
Yeah,
So
that's that first down bootleg to Moore for 35 yards. Swift +5 on the run. Odunze dropped the football. That was a touchdown, by the way. That was 6. They dropped the football right there on second down. 3rd and 5, Swift with a run that was +2. 4th and 3, interception. I like the aggressiveness of the offense. It looked good until the interception happened. So again, you want to have 3 or 7 in that spot. That was clearly a touchdown for Dunze, but he dropped the football, which was a problem for the Bears in their loss against the Rams in overtime by a score of 20-17. Leave your comments as we are going to start reading your comments here. We'll hear from Ben Johnson for our Under the Hood post-game show. I'd like to let you know that our show also is brought to you by Alexander James Whiskey. It was announced on Friday that Alexander James Whiskey is now the official whiskey of Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Go to alexanderjameswhiskey.com for more information. We also got a chance to talk to Jesse Stewart, who is the founder of Alexander James Whiskey. So this is the whiskey that we support. This is what we're drinking. So make sure that you go to alexanderjameswhiskey.com for more information. And
you know what?
as
Now,
go ahead.
now that Alexander James Whiskey is a sponsor of the show, you can now give me a little bit more than a teaspoon of the whiskey because you should be getting a lot more. You know, you being a little stingy with the whiskey over there. You know, now that you got he's the sponsor, I can share a little bit more.
How about a bottle? How about a
All
whole
right,
bottle? I'll do that for
all
you.
right.
Now that Alexander James Whiskey and Jesse Stewart is aboard here under the hood, make sure that you support him. And just like Wiley will support him for sure. Well, I'm sure multiple bottles after this loss against the LA Rams. We see your comments here. Yeah, Larry Cobbins is like, yeah, it sucked that the Bears lost tonight. That's for sure. Robbie says that DJ stopped on that route, and that's what we just talked
Yeah,
about there. We don't understand what happened there, and hope Ben Johnson, without us hearing from the post game, and we'll hear from him a little bit, he'll say he has to look at the tape, I'm sure, and say that he's not sure what happened there in that situation. Caleb Williams will probably have more insight on that, on what happened on that route. But I mean, that was just it was just a heartbreaker because so many things went right for the Bears in a tight game against arguably one of the best teams in football, definitely one of the best teams in the NFC. We knew it was going to be tough because the Rams are tough. But you know what? The Bears were able to continue to just chip away at the armor of the Rams. It wasn't about the cold for the Rams. It was just about the aggressiveness of the defense. Let's make sure that we give Dennis Allen's team and his unit a lot of credit because from Jaquan Brisker to Kyler Gordon to Kevin Byard to C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Jalen Johnson, Austin Booker, man, they came to play. Wiley, this is one of those games where we're going to isolate and say, my God, look how aggressive that this defense was. So I was so happy to see the Bears defensively getting it done. Jaquan Brisker, you had a lot of guys that were able to make plays and got the Rams off the field. That's all I wanted all season. But in this game, they understood if they won this game, you go to the NFC title game, and the defense, to me, was more ready than the offense was at times watching the game tonight.
no, they were, and when you hold a Rams team to 20 points, including overtime, you should win that game. And then it was again, you gotta look at Ben Johnson. You look at Ben Johnson in the offense, and when you try to find a reason the Bears didn't win this game, it's Ben's play calling, it's the drop spider receivers, and then also Ben not taking the points when they were on the board, to be had. So it's all like, I know Caleb had 3 interceptions. So you look at the box score for the playoffs, you say, okay, Caleb had 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions for the playoffs. But if you watch the games, really only one of those interceptions were on Caleb watching the game. So it was a collective effort of suckage on offense, starting with Ben Johnson. And when you're getting paid $13 million a year, you got to come up bigger than that. And, Caleb almost saved them again with that Hail Mary pass. But you can't expect that consistently. So you're getting out coached by guys who are not great coordinators. We're talking about a Rams team that was giving up 27 points a game coming into this game since like the last 7 weeks of the season. And then you managed to go score 17 at home in the cold with all the advantages, at your disposal, and you still don't get it done. So when we look at this the autopsy of this playoff game, Ben Johnson is primarily responsible for the death of the Bears today. And that's really unfortunate because when you're getting paid $13 million a year, I expect a lot more from Ben Johnson instead of
Okay. Okay. That's
impotent.
that I think. Well, okay. Okay. Number one, Ben Johnson's not the reason why the Bears lost the game. The Bears lost the game because the Rams were better, just a tick better than the Bears was. Now, there's some things that we can question about play calling. That same play calling that we've been seeing all season, where you scratch your head and say, why don't you go for the points there? 3 clearly. I guess when he counts to 10, he skips the number 3. I think that's pretty clear. It's 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, because all he cares about is the 6 and trying to get that touchdown and then the extra point for 7. Look, points still matter. You can kick a field goal and can be a 2-possession game or 1-possession game. He always is going to try to force it on 4th down. This is who he is. And by the way, some of that aggressiveness, Cuzzo, has helped the Bears win. But ultimately, what's helped the Bears win is Caleb Williams and his heroics in the 4th quarter and the offense in the 4th quarter. Don't forget, that's still his offense that's getting it done. It's magical at times, just like that throw to Cole Kmet, which we'll never forget, just like that 4th and 6 to Roma Dunze. I mean, it's amazing. But here's the thing. He's not the sole reason why the Bears lost tonight. It's because the Bears did not have enough offense, even though he's in charge of it, but drop passes. And nothing Ben Johnson can do about drop passes or missed opportunities. He can set the table. You got to eat, though, if you're the offense. And so Anthony says that Caleb forced that throw that caused the pick in overtime. That's a bad way to end the season. Would you agree?
I don't know if he forced the throw, but it was definitely a bad way to end the season. And to a certain extent, I'm not sure what was. I have to see the replay to see what was open underneath or if there's other options. But I thought that was too aggressive for a situation like that when you only need like maybe 10, 15 yards for a first down and you have the momentum. So I'm not sure. When he let go of the ball, I thought he was throwing it to somebody who was kind of open. And maybe that was true, but, more stopped running the route. But, yeah, I'm not sure if I would have been as aggressive with a throw in that situation. But Caleb has been clutch all season, so I'll live with his decision on that. But, again, when you have a defense, that forces 7 punts, 6 or 7 punts, you get 3 sacks. Unfortunately, we forced 2 fumbles, but we recovered 0 of them, which was a little disappointing. But
that's kind of that's us in the playoffs. That's us in the playoffs, as in a nutshell. Not being able to capitalize on those opportunities, like Javon Dexter in the last game against the Packers. Same thing.
Yeah, one of them just fell right into Matthew Stafford's lap after they got the fumble. So it was a fortunate bounce for them. But yeah, it was a disappointing way to end the season because if I'm looking at this the rest of the playoffs, because I felt like this was a good chance to even possibly make it to the Super Bowl, and you don't get many of these opportunities that come up every single year.
There's no question about that. We've got some super chats that are in here as well. Keep your comments coming here as we provide you with this Under the Hood post-game show brought to you by Southwest Airlines. We see you, Eric Collins. EC says, and by the way, thank you very much for the $5 super chat. He says that there were at least 6 to 9 points missed on not going for a field goal, being too cute. Defense held their own against the best offense in the league. That is the post-game right there. That comment from EC right there tells you that, again, for whatever reason, Ben Johnson says, no, I'm going to go for it on 4th down and keep the drive going because he feels like he has the momentum. He thinks he has the defense on his heels, but sometimes it's okay. It's not weakness to kick the football. If you feel like you don't have any confidence in Cairo Santos, that's one thing. If you don't think he has the range in that wind and that snow, that's fine. But Cairo Santos has proven time and time again that he's been able to come through. He's not this thunderfoot that's going to get it done for 65 yards or 60 yards. He's not that, but he's very capable. And so when EC says that, hey, 69 points missed because not going for a field goal, hey man, I don't care about how it looks on Instagram. I care about what it looks like on the scoreboard. This cuteness and all these trick, it wasn't like he did a whole bunch of trick plays, but this fourth quarter aggressiveness, this is what Bears fans have to deal with. Because remember, he came from Detroit. So that's how Detroit got their shit rolling. So the Bears are going to be doing the same thing. This will not stop,
He didn't trust his defense at all. And not trusting his defense made him go for it a lot on fourth down. But in the end, it was the offense, which is really ironic. It was the offense that cost the Bears the game. So maybe if he wasn't as aggressive and took some points, took some profit instead of, trying to hit home runs, yeah, maybe it's a different outcome. Who knows? But yeah, I didn't like, if I'm being honest, I didn't like what I saw from Ben in either playoff game. Bears won the first game, so we could throw away the complaints that game because the Bears won. But I didn't like the game plan. I didn't like him getting out coached by Shula in this game and Hafley last game. So I didn't think he won the battle in either game. Last game, yeah, Caleb bailed him out again. And this game, Caleb ran out of magic. So Ben has to look in the mirror. Yeah, he's not responsible for the 7 or 8 drops. He's not responsible for that. But he's responsible for all the other play calls. He's responsible for the decisions to go forward on fourth down instead of taking a profit with the field goal. And he's responsible for the fact that his offense, or he was out-coached by the opposing defensive coordinator in back-to-back playoff games, and that can't happen when you're a $13 million a year coach.
Well, here's the thing. No excuses for Ben Johnson, even though he's a first-year head coach, but he knows offense, okay? So I expected it not to necessarily be this smooth. That's why this season is such a success for the Bears, because I didn't expect it to be this smooth. First-year head coach, you know how this works in the league, Wiley, is that when someone first gets their job and they specialize in defense or offense, that you usually don't get a whole bunch as far as free agency in the draft. You just get a few players here or there and it's sprinkled in, and then year 2, year 3, you start building up. Ben Johnson got a lot on the offensive line, a lot on it for his offense, what he asked for. You wanted extra tight end, you wanted extra wide receiver, he got it. Okay, so he's got all those things. But you knew that there was going to be some times where there's going to be some growing pains with Ben Johnson where he pushes a button and it does not work. Despite what you say about the defensive coordinators on the other teams with Green Bay and for the Rams, still the Bears are in the balance to win the football game. See, both things can be true. You could say that the defensive coordinators outcoached Ben Johnson, and those guys are more experienced than Ben. But at the same time, you're still in the ball game. It's to the point where you won the last game because you took care of the advantage or the disadvantages of the Green Bay Packers, some of their mistakes. And in this game, the defense was so aggressive that you had a chance to be able to win the football game offensively if you just take points, if you just kind of move forward, and just say, hey, I'll take this 3, but next time we're going to get 7. And that's not how Ben Johnson operates, unfortunately. Eric Collins says that he felt like there was a business decision made by DJ Moore. That's a tough one.
I hope not.
That's a tough one, especially after all this that he's gone through. He's taking a pounding. Like, there's no way he's going to pull up now. Like, he wasn't thinking about Cancun. For a guy that's been with, bereft of quality quarterbacks that he had to work with, he's finally had someone he can connect to. Hey, man, he wasn't going to try to pull up and say, I'm ready to go home. Not after all this. He wants a payment. He wants some ROI for his long season, the long career he's had. And so in a tough season where he was out and then had to be the guy with Roma Dunze being out, I mean, it's crazy. Peter Burke says they chased points at the very beginning of the game and predictable big brain Ben in key spots. He says, holy shit, what about that defense? Yeah, that's the case. Lily Umper sends us a super chat, $4.99. Thank you. Thank you very much for supporting our podcast and the show for Under the Hood with John the Hood, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. a watch defense played well, talking about the Bears defense played well, but being too aggressive on fourth down and passing up points is something I don't know if I can get used to it. This is who he is. You got two teams in the North that's the same. Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell are both riverboat gamblers, and they're going to be going for it. I have told you many times, Wiley, how itchy it is for me, old school football guy, to see anything beyond 4th and 3. But a lot of these coaches go for it, and they feel like at 4th and 4, we got to play to draw up. And all I know is that in today's game, I just thought it lacked a lot of imagination to just put the ball on Swift 3 times and then go, right there on 4th and goal, which is also very, very crucial, difficult to do, a throw underneath to Luther Burden. If you don't have no fade in you, or if you can't have Caleb on the bootleg to run for the touchdown, if you don't have an extra blocker in there to be able to help Caleb run for that touchdown, then I don't know what they're trying to do here. But I tell you one thing, just giving it to Swift 3 times is not the answer. I tell you that right now. It is not.
So I believe on 3 of the Bears' 4th down conversions, it was the ball was put in Caleb's hands. So Caleb got 2 quarterback sneaks for a 1st down, and then he threw the prayer to commit in the back of the end zone. If you're seeing that your running backs, or particularly Swift, can't gain a yard, just let Caleb sneak it. Or to your point, roll them out. Roll them out. Stop being predictable with the handoffs, because they know you're not running left. You've proven you're afraid to run left. So your change to the offensive line negated the team's ability to run left, and the Rams took advantage of that. And to me, that's a coaching decision. You have to. Well, I thought Thuney played well at tackle. I would have loved to see Thuney, anchoring in the middle on some of those runs, and he wasn't available.
I mean, but here's the thing, and this is why, again, there's a lot of positives. Even though I hate that the Bears lost, and I hate that you had the game in. I can understand if you get blown out. I mean, if you're the 49ers and you have no shot against Seattle, if you lose that way, you just lose that way, right? Even at the crib, it would have hurt, but you'd be like, you're just not in a football game, but you're just that close. That's when it hurts the most, when you're that close in football games. And if you just take the points in some way, shape, or form, maybe you can win that football game. But yeah, I'm just perplexed by some of that play calling, and it's also just the lack of prowess and production. These are games that you got to have it, because there's no tomorrow. You got to catch the football, Wiley. That's the thing that I just can't get past. And Caleb Williams is a wizard out there. I mean, you've got Chris Collinsworth and Mike Tirico on NBC just like falling out of their chairs because they didn't think they'd see this shit again. They just saw that what they saw from Burden. That's, great play, 1 of 1, right? And then Caleb Williams does that. That's the thing that sucks, is that he was able to get you back tied in the game and you still lose it. That's really tough. Let's go through the numbers here for this one with the Bears against the Rams as the Bears lose 20-17. Keep your comments coming. Put your super chats in as well as we talk to you about the Bears and their season coming to an end against the LA Rams. Okay, so let's take a look at this, Cuzzo. So Caleb Williams finished 23 for 42, good for 257 yards and 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Also, the running game, 160 yards, 39 carries for the running game for the Bears. Didn't expect 160 yards, but you'll take it, right? Swift, 76 yards on 19 carries. Also, Caleb Williams, 5 for 40. Common Unguy, 13 carries, 36 yards. DJ Moore, 1 for 8. And so 160 yards, Cuzzo. That's good production on the ground.
Yeah. It should be good enough to get you a win, but when you stall on so many drives, it becomes difficult.
Yeah, that was difficult. Some other numbers they want to pass to you as far as the receivers are concerned. Colson Lovin, 4 for 56. He was targeted 10 times, If anyone in the chat knows, we don't have the official numbers yet. How many drops total for the Bears? I know it's got to be out there
I,
somewhere.
I have 7. I have 7
Okay.
drops. So I started counting them after the first couple. So I have 7 drops, and Loveland had 3 of those.
Okay, so DJ Moore 5 for 52 with a touchdown. Roma Dunze targeted 6 times, 2 for 44. Kalman Ungai 4 for 36. It's good to see him in the passing game. Cole Kmet with that huge touchdown to help tie the game. 3 for 31. Luther Burden targeted 7 times, 3 for 24. 257 yards total for the receivers on 23 receptions. And as we mentioned, the defense was just stout. You got sacks. You got 4 sacks. One from Sweat, one from Dominic Robinson, one from Kyler Gordon, and one for Jaquan Brisker in the game for the Bears as they lose to the Rams 20-17. And then, looking at Matthew Stafford, his total numbers, 258 yards, 20 for 42. When you look at these numbers side by side, because it's almost like a slugfest between these two, right? Even though Stafford started cooking in overtime because this is who he is, right? I mean, guy could be MVP, the most touchdowns and the most yards of any quarterback in the NFL. He's just savvy, knows how to be able to win. When you have Kyren Williams running the football for 2 touchdowns, when you have Parkinson as a tight end, Nakua, Woodington, you've got Higbee, you've got Devontae Adams. Adams was, 2 for 24, 2 receptions, 24 yards, 6 targets. Really wasn't in the ball game, but so the scout was good there. But it just shows you the defense did all it could to be able to keep the Bears in the ball game, and just not enough points and just not enough from the sideline help from the coaching staff to get that done. Hey, listen, the Bears got to catch the football, but also when you decide that you want to go for it and not put points on the board, points are so important, man. You got to if you don't get 7, if you're in a position to get 3, get the field goal. Got to do it. It's a must.
It is. When you have your defense sacking Matthew Stafford more times in one game than he's been sacked all year, you have your defense forcing 2 fumbles. Obviously, they recovered none. But you have them forcing 6 punts. 6 punts in the game. I'm not sure if the Bears' defense has forced 6 punts in the past 4 games they played in combined. But tonight, they held the Rams, great offense to 17 points in regulation and 20 points overall, and then you just come up short.
Yeah, so just very unfortunate. We're going to hear from Ben Johnson a little bit. He's taking the podium, so we're going to get that press conference to you momentarily. Let's go back to some of the chats here. And again, we appreciate you guys supporting Under the Hood with John the Hood. Please subscribe while you're here. If you're here for the first time, we've always got great content for you from all sports, including the Bears. We've had so many great guests on, including my own cousin, just helping out and keeping this channel going. Let's see what else did we miss here. We got here. How about this one? Read this. So I'm proud to be a Bears fan. Caleb went for it all, and DJ did not go for it. Clearly, sometimes it just take the points. He felt like Ben left 6 points on the board. I would agree with that statement as well. Also, if you kick those field goals, now you give up position. So he's not happy with it at all. So we appreciate you checking in, my friend.
No, like even on the last drive, because of where, like, I understood why he went for it, because obviously it's your 4th and goal, and you need just a yard. There was the play call was questionable. I hear you. Keep my head up. It's going to be a tough off season, because this was a great season by the Bears. It really was a great season, but you got 7-8 months just to think about the first game of the season, which there's a bad taste in your mouth. Like, the Bears got their ass whooped, fine, but to have an opportunity to win the game multiple times and fail, that stings a lot, even for a season where the Bears overachieved. After they overachieved, you still want a little bit more, and we didn't get that today.
Yeah, Peter Burke is always a big supporter of what we do here on Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. He says, what we know is this, that the Bear will be back next year, and this is the new expectation. It certainly is. But the thing is, Peter, about this, okay, is that I agree that when you look at what the Bears have done and you say, well, you know what the expectations are. Yeah, I mean, I agree. But you know how the National Football League works. There's a team that comes out of nowhere and they'll be in the Bears spot. The Bears have to make sure that they're in that spot. You can't change everything sonically, but you just know that here in the offseason, and we'll get there because we'll talk plenty about it here on Under the Hood and on Cap and J Hood. We'll talk a lot about this week about what the Bears need. Clearly, you need to have a defensive pass rush. But if you don't get it all fixed, does that mean that you're back here next year? Are you sure you're going to have that same magic? If you have less magic, can you still win 11 games? That's the thing that's so fleeting about the National Football League. I just remember, just like it was yesterday, the head coach for the Detroit Lions said to the team, hey, guys, we got to be able to win these games because I'm not sure if we're going to be here next year. And they weren't. That's how, I mean, you can go from, hey, we're a good football team to we're good, but we're not playoff worthy, or we're missing something, or there's injuries, or we didn't get enough in the offseason. It's always that. That's why this whole machine moves the way it does, Wiley. Just when, like, I want the Bears to be in the NFC title game next year. Can you guarantee that that's going to be the case? It's hard to say because the NFL changes so much that way.
You can't. Here's the reason why, Cuzzo. Here's the reason why. The Lions right now, granted they finished in last place in the division, but they're the best team in the division on paper. They're still the best team in the division on paper. The Packers have a great team. The Vikings are coming. So you can't guarantee that the Bears are going to be here next year because the division is great. So if this was, the mid 2000s where there was not a lot going on in the division, then yeah, maybe so. You could say, okay, we should be back here next year. The Bears could very well finish in last place like the Lions did this year because the Lions team didn't get worse. The Lions team was still great on paper. They just lost a lot of shitty games and finished, 8-9 or 9-8 for the season. That was enough to keep them out of the playoffs. So while the Bears should get better overall, you can't guarantee health of the offensive line again. And pretty much the entire line was healthy the entire season except the tackles. You can't guarantee to get, the same health or the same heroics from Caleb. And you can't guarantee the division. You're going to win it with the teams that you have to face year in and year out, plus a first place schedule. So you take advantage of the opportunities you get because tomorrow is not guaranteed. While the expectations are greater now, there's not guaranteed the Bears are going to win and get to the playoffs again next year.
We heard from our teammate here at Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Charles Taylor says that Ben and Caleb will learn from this game. It's been a fun ride, but get better on the defensive line and execute better on offense. That is for sure. They're both learning one another. And by the way, what an advanced crash course for Ben Johnson and for Caleb Williams, where Caleb Williams pulled it out of the fire for the Bears, and the offense did many, many times with those magical victories. And Ben Johnson is looking at this and saying, okay, you know what? I know I got the quarterback. There's no debate now that the Bears have the quarterback. But the thing is that, are you going sideways? Are you going up? Or are you going down? That's the thing. That's the big question. Like we know that Caleb has a magical arm, but what is the rest of the team? The offensive line, the wide receivers, what does that look like for next year? Hopefully this is ascending in the right direction for the Bears. That's what we all want to see. We got another super chat, Cuzzo, from Quentin Guzman. Quentin says, and thank you very much for the $5. Thank you very much for checking us out on our super chats. He says, this hurts so much, guys. We were so close. Why didn't Ben Johnson use Caleb's legs, and why didn't he just run the ball and use the clock? That's a great question. Quentin, it's a great question because even in the last game against the Packers, I wanted Caleb to run the football more, and he did not. I'm glad that Caleb did recognize at times, he's like, oh, no one's open. Yeah, just go. Just run with the football. I loved toward the end of the game where he forced his way in to get that first down. push the defender off and make sure he got that first down on the right side on the sidelines. Because you have to do that, right? Like, I know, listen, I'm sure your head coach wants you to be back there and to make the perfect throw and here's a perfect game plan, all that stuff. Forget that. You run with the football. So, I would have preferred that. Get yourself in field goal range. Even though the head coach may not want to do that, get yourself in a scoring position. Like, as much as we love football, every position, because as you well know, sometimes you just can't score. Sometimes you got to punt the football. But if you're in field goal range, try to do it. I don't want Caleb to just kind of force the ball in there to throw interceptions. He's been throwing interceptions all over the place. It becomes punts ultimately because of field positions. But if you can get the field goal, I'd rather have the field goal than Caleb just throwing it to the opposition just because.
No, I agree, and that was one of the many frustrating things about this game. Ben Johnson did a lot of great things for the organization. He changed the culture. So I don't want to make this like my comments meaning I'm down on Ben Johnson because I think he's a great coach. I think the Bears have a bright future. One of the primary reasons is because he is the coach, but he can get better. So that doesn't mean because he's great, you can't criticize him. I think he's had a poor playoff when it came to calling plays. And I'm hoping that going forward, he does a better job. I'm hoping that going forward that the Bears can build on this success. And we're talking about a perennial playoff team instead of just a pop-up season.
No Scope Rick doesn't want to hear it. He says, yeah, DJ sold that game. He says, I don't care. So he's a $28 million player right there. He's got to be – he thinks that that DJ pulled up. And I don't know how that didn't happen. You just don't do that in that spot. After all the beating that he's taken, everything he's gone through, that dude wanted to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he didn't CJ Stroud this game at all. No, like CJ Stroud should be investigated for betting against the Texans, but I'm not DJ Moore. No, I'm not putting that on. It was a bad play. I'm not sure what happened. Hopefully they'll explain why that happened, but I'm not putting that on DJ Moore. I don't think he threw the game. It's unfortunate what he did, but yeah, he didn't CJ Stroud this game for the Bears. Not at all.
Yeah, TMJ Southside says this was a winnable ball game. TMG Southside says it was a winnable ball game. Totally understand what you're saying there. So we better hear from the head coach, Ben Johnson. I know it's going to be a lot of look at the tape. And actually, the season's over, bro. What tape are you going to look at? Either you know what happened in the game or not. There is no looking at the tape. But let me see we got to find out what he's got to say, Cuzzo, because you got a chance to talk to the press after the game. So let's take you now to Soldier Field, and let's see if we hear from Ben Johnson, head coach for the Bears. See if he's got some thoughts here, because that DJ Moore play is just strange. Just not going for 3 and then being out after fourth down. Yeah, that was weird too. So Ben Johnson just got a chance to talk to the media. We're going to hear from him momentarily here. Let's see what we got. Here we go.
That game, but disappointing result tonight. Our guys fought the entire way, just like they have all season long. I thought, this was very much like our team has been. And you got to give the Rams credit. Coach McVay does a phenomenal job. Coach Shula did a great job with their defense this week. And, they ended up making a couple more plays than we did. And that's why we ended up going into overtime. And they ended up coming out on top. And so, like I said, disappointing result. Our guys are feeling it right now. They all believe, man. They all believed all year long that we could find a way to win each and every week. And so it's disappointing like that. But I am proud of the group. It's a special group. I said that a few weeks ago. I believe that to my core, that when you're with a group of men for the last time in the locker room, and it's just not going to be the same going forward. That I appreciate all of them, the men and the women, coaches, players, support staff, everybody that had a role this season. It was a special year, and this will be hopefully a feeling in this locker room that we won't forget, and we'll be able to use it as fuel going forward. But with that, I'll go ahead and open it up.
How do you describe the difficulty and the suddenness of this ending for that group?
Yeah, it's the NFL, right? You make it to the tournament like this, and the moment we knew we had to win 4 in a row to actually feel good at the end of the thing. We didn't get that done, and so this is what happens. It ends abruptly, and for the young players in the room, it's like, okay, we'll come in tomorrow, and we go through the exit process, and then we go on, but the veteran leadership has been outstanding all year long. Those guys are key part of what we've done. All those guys in that line, I mean, they've all played significant roles in us getting here to this point. And so, it ends quickly, and that's life in this league.
And what did you think of the throw Caleb made at the end, that 40-yard line?
The 4th down to tie it up, ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I mean, you talk about that 4th and 8 from last week and how outstanding that was, and I think this one was probably even another level ahead of that. So there's some things that you just can't coach. He's got that about him. He's got a knack. He's clutch. He does so many good things. He's an eraser. I calls each and every week, and he helps make it right for me. And I know he's feeling it because we didn't win and had some turnovers mixed in there, and he's feeling it. But he's one of those guys I'm talking about. We'll remember this feeling, and he's going to be stronger for it.
Did you give much consideration to going for 2 there?
Thought about it. Yeah, thought about it. Probably what played a little bit of a factor was, our goal to go situations hadn't gone very clean. Our inside the 5 plan hadn't worked out quite like we had hoped. And so just felt better about taking our chances there in overtime.
What was your viewpoint on the last interception from Caleb going through the lines and the route?
I'll have to see it. I had to stand behind the defense a little bit, so I did see space. I saw grass, and then the guy, I didn't see that defender from my perspective, and so I'll have to see it. But I did think as the play was going on, I was like, oh crap, we got something. But great play by that player.
Make sure that the special ability you guys have now to carry over to something can next season.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be something that next season is next season. I mean, it's a whole different group. It's a whole different chapter. It's we'll have to write a whole brand new story. And so that's the thing about this is you put in all this work and you sacrifice and you trust the people around you, and you can't take any shortcuts. So I wish I could say that this is momentum from year one. We'll take it. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. And honestly, I don't even want to talk about next year yet. There'll be a time and a place for it, but we're still hurting. We had a great opportunity here this year to make a name for ourselves, and I'm proud that we were able to get to this point, and still disappointed that we fell short.
How do you assess what Caleb is right now, where you see these phenomenal plays that you can't coach, but you and him both talk a lot about a significant list of things where he can still improve and get a lot better?
He's gotten so much better over the course of the season. I can say that from being the play caller, the coaching staff would say that. I think his teammates would tell you the same thing. He's going to continue to ascend. His comfort level in what we were doing has gotten better each and every week. There's plays every week that go from us talking about over the course of the week, and he just brings it to life on game day. So I'm very encouraged about where he's at. I think we're going to be able to watch this tape from this first year together, and I expect us to really learn from a lot of things and be better next year.
So the thoughts there from Ben Johnson, the head coach for the Chicago Bears, as we are presented to you by the fine folks over at Southwest Airlines. They got the Rapids rewards. Make sure you click the link that's in the bio of this podcast so you can get your Rapid rewards. Learn more by clicking the link for Southwest Rapid Rewards, a presenter for Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood, as we are doing our Under the Hood post-game conversation with you. Please leave your comments as we talk about the end of the Bears season, because that'll be all. The Chicago Bears lose to the LA Rams in overtime by a score of 20-17. I think the thing that that just keeps resonating with me, Cuzzo, is that you had so many opportunities there offensively to be able to win the football game, and you just did not. I can never get over the fact that when you are in a position to have something on the scoreboard, you got to put something up. And for some of these offensive coordinators, you just heard from Ben Johnson, obviously he's disappointed, but he's going to have to take a look in the mirror for year 2 and year 3 and say, hey, man, if the offense isn't working, I need to put something up on the board. 4th down plays, I mean, they're great. A lot of teams stick with analytics, but this can be very difficult when you get a 4th down situation, don't make it, and then you flip the field to the other team and you don't have the football. At some point, you're going to have to look in the mirror and say, 3 is going to have to be good enough. We'll get them next time. I'd rather have that than just not being able to have nothing when you're when you're on offense. Got to do something.
No, you're right, Cuzzo. And then to your point, you were also right about him saying that he was going to have to watch the tape to find out what happened on the last play.
See, always look at the tape.
I'm going to need a bottle of Alexander James whiskey just to get through this next 24 hours, just because of what we had to witness tonight. But I understand that Ben didn't want to throw anybody under the bus. I get that. That makes sense. But when you're answering questions about what happened on a critical drive that ended your season, you should probably have an answer for that question. And at some point you're going to have to answer it anyway. So whether it was on Caleb, whether it was on DJ, or whether it was on you for calling a bad play, you're going to have to answer that at some point. So just get it out the way. And he ducked the question tonight, which was predictable by you. But I was hoping for a little bit more than that from our leader.
No, you're not getting that, because he still believes that he's right. He will say, as we just heard in the press conference, like Caleb Williams is the elixir for a lot of the bad calls that he puts out there. Like that play to one of our offensive linemen in that spot is just ridiculous. Sometimes it's ridiculous for them to even have Smythe in the game plan. The third tight end, right? Durham Smythe. I'm like, man, you got so many burners. You're not fooling anybody by having these big lumbering dudes trying to catch footballs with big, heavy gloves. What is that? Like this is why that you have rookies and veterans on the team that are actually pass catchers. Yeah, Loveland did not have a good game. It doesn't mean that, you know what, we're going to go to the Canadian Eagle and we'll go to him for some offense. Like, why? Why would you do that?
So here's the thing, because though you didn't trust the Canadian Eagle to run or to pass block for you, but you trusted him to catch a ball. Like why?
Oh God, yeah.
So if that guy can't run a pass block for you, then you shouldn't trust him to catch a ball. But you're trusting him to catch an outlet ball and make a play, and his drop almost led to a game-ending interception. So Ben, got a little cute at times, and hopefully the Alexander James whiskey will make it all feel a little bit better.
The Steely Ease says they felt like William Dafoe after getting shot in Platoon. Yeah, I understand, but you don't have time to bleed. You don't. Just so you know. Johnny T wants to know what happened. The Bears lost to the Rams 20-17 in overtime. Johnny, have someone read the box score to you. That's what happened. Okay. That's what happened.
You may have read it too fast for him, because
okay.
A little slower next time.
Okay. Oh, well, okay. Maybe that is the case. So Burke is letting us know Loveland dropped 4 passes, Adunze 2. I feel like there might have been others also, but I mean, Loveland stands out a lot. And I could do the whole, Loveland is a rookie, big spotlight. Now, see, when you have been able to do when you went through a lot of games in the regular season without dropping a pass, And so in the biggest game of the season, you drop passes that way. Man, I will not say it was too cold for Loveland. I'll just say that Loveland did not do right by the Bears offensively. Caleb Williams does have a rock of an arm. I haven't seen an arm like that since Vince Evans. And one of the reasons why Vince had to leave the league because he was throwing the ball too hard and breaking people's fingers. Brian Bashnagel, like he was breaking fingers because he had a zip on the ball. He has the strongest arm I've seen since Vince. And so even that throw to Komet up close, remember he was like run to his left. He's like, shh, I don't see anybody open. You take it. Zoop. He zipped it right into Komet. He's like, oh, geez. But, this is what it is. It doesn't mean that you can't catch the football, though. He does throw the ball hard. And sometimes it's not accurate. But more times than not it is, especially lately. And you got to catch the football. You just have to.
No, and there was a Burton drop in there as well on a deep pass
Yes.
over the middle. And I if I'm being honest, I thought tonight Burton and Loveland didn't have their best games. I don't think Burton is always aware of what he's supposed to be, what his responsibility is on each play. Because he looks lost to the point where at some point they put in odds. They put odds in the game instead of him because I don't think he's running the right routes. I don't think he's in the place he should be at. I think Caleb is correcting him more than he should when he's on the field. So he's going to have to clean that up in the off season. But when the ball's in his hand, that kid's electric. So if I'm looking forward to what the Bears can do next year, Bears need better running back. Need a great running back, not a Swift. A Swift and Munungai can come in to change pace or to give a guy a breather, but they need a workhorse. And you need a workhorse because in games like this, you need someone you can rely on to get you yards and to make plays. And the Bears didn't have that, so they had to lean on Caleb. And unfortunately, with 7 or 8 drops by the receivers, that wasn't a possibility. So, that is disappointing because, in the end, it makes a difference when you have a Kyron Williams in your backfield as opposed to a Swift or Munungai. You're probably better off.
We got comments still coming in. Put your super chats in if you care to. You can be part of the Hoodie Club as well. We've got exclusive stuff for you on the Hoodie Club, and that is, we should tell people, Cousin Wiley, and you need that hookup as well. There are my thoughts about Bleck and Abdallah leaving ESPN 1000 as part of the Hoodie Club. You can see my thoughts on that. Also, I'll give you a tour of the 7th floor of our station at ESPN 1000, where I work weekday mornings between 6 and 9 with David Kaplan. We'll be leaving that building soon, so we give you a tour of that building and all the studios I've been in the last 20 years at ESPN Chicago. And a few other things that's on there as well. So I'm so distraught and kind of disappointed in the Bears, but I know that we got stuff there. Be part of the Hoodie Club. A lot of people have seen some exclusive interviews and some things I've done there, so check it out. That's all part of what we do on YouTube, youtube.com. Look for Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Please like, share, and subscribe, and comment on everything we do on Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. People are up in arms about the overtime. Midwest Traveler says, should have just ran the ball at the end. Get yourself in position to get a field goal instead of that interception at the end for the Bears offensively. There's Delon says, Tooney isn't getting any younger. Who will they draft in his place? Can you just give us a chance to just, look over the body first before we close the casket? Can we do that, Delon? Jesus Christ. Just give us a chance. This is not the last podcast that being Wiley and anyone else is going to do around here. Can we just hold on about the draft and free agency? Can we just view the body can we just do that? What about the loss? Like we could do something about the draft now. Let's make all changes now, tonight, the night that the Bears lost a heartbreaking game against the Rams.
You asking the widower at the funeral, when are you going to get married again?
She's teared up. She's distraught. Hey, you want to go out and get laid? Right. No, I don't want to get laid. I want to mourn this loss, if you don't mind. As soon as Caleb was flat-footed, I knew it was coming next. Well, what was that? Do we know that DJ Moore was not going to be there for the route? Is that, if you're referring to overtime, then who knew what was going to happen? Actually, the only way that you know is that when the play took place and the replay. So there's that. Starting to break down on us, Cuzzo. It's starting to break down on us. So, all right. So, Cuzzo, we went through the numbers here, and I think we should probably hear from Caleb Williams as well, right? To hear his thoughts on some of this stuff. I'm sure because he's out there, he have a little bit more of an understanding of, especially that DJ Moore play or the interception and all of that. We probably should hear from him at some point. But what are some of your other thoughts there about this loss?
No, the loss obviously ended a remarkable season by an upstart Bears team. It was it was reminiscent of the 2001 season with the Mike Brown, making all the and the defense making all those great plays with Dick Duran. But unlike 2001, or maybe sort of like 2001, you have a strong core, in place, and you have the head coach to lead the charge, and you have a quarterback for the first time since Sid Luckman was roaming the sidelines. So there's a lot of things to be encouraged by despite the loss, and I'm looking forward to that next chapter of this Bears team, because now you can see, okay, we have the coach, we have the quarterback, we have the supporting cast. We just got to fill in some spots on defense and other places to, so we can sustain success for a long period of time instead of having a pop-up playoff season. So I see a lot to be encouraged by, despite the loss.
Absolutely. When you're that close, that's when it's frustrating. When you have an opportunity to put points in the board, that's when a defense, I've been riding them a lot this season, and rightfully so, because of, just the injuries, one thing, but then the other thing is just, some of the veterans that have played, like Grady Jarrett. We haven't even talked a lot about him this year, you and I. We haven't talked a lot about Grady Jarrett. It's because not available or not effective. We haven't talked a lot about Andrew Billings this year. It's the reason why, not effective, right? We've talked about Montez Sweat some. We've talked about some of the guys in the secondary. The guy we should be talking about is Austin Booker. This guy has again, it's not like your classic pass rusher, but boy, he does things to wreak havoc on that defensive line. All shout out to him, man. Big fan of what he's been able to bring to the table.
I agree with all that. Just one more criticism, because I just thought about this too. Yeah. On that last offensive possession, the Rams punted the ball to Duvernay. Duvernay had space to run with the ball, but he called for a fair catch. That blew my mind. Instead of the Bears possibly getting the ball at the 25 or better, they got it at the 15 because he called for a fair catch. He was the guy we picked up for punt return and kick returns this year. And with the exception of 1 or 2 games, I thought he sucked most of the season at that job. So hopefully we can upgrade there soon. But yeah, that was questionable to me for him to call for a fair catch when he had room to run. He had blockers in front of him, and we got the ball at the 15 instead of possibly the 25 or better.
Pedestrian at special teams, Duvernay.
Yes.
Pedestrian at best. And then there was the one game. It was the Browns game. One game that he put the Bears in field position to be able to get the field goal.
Vikings game.
The Vikings game. The Vikings game. Yeah, that's the biggest highlight from him this year. Quite frankly, yes, it's that's it. So let's hear from Caleb Williams. Oh God, you should see the sweater he's wearing. Oh, thank God you're not looking at it. There'd be all kind of jokes flying from you if you saw the sweater that this brother's wearing. I don't know who I don't know. I just don't know. It just God, what he's wearing. But anyway, Caleb Williams, quarterback for the Chicago Bears, got a chance to speak to the press after the game. Here is Caleb Williams.
What did you see? What did you expect to happen?
I gotta go back and watch it. Obviously, haven't seen it and don't really know. But from in the moment, saw the front side safety down. front side of the concept, ended up getting hemmed up a little bit. And so I moved on and had DJ going over top over all of it. Just miscommunication between him and I. Tried to flatten him off under the safety, and he kept it vertical from what I saw on obviously in the moment.
How do you describe the suddenness of this and beyond this joy right now?
Yeah, it's tough. Being in that locker room, the best moments is being in that locker room after games and after wins, and being with the guys that you all have a common goal. You all sacrifice family time, and things like that, and all that you sacrifice to be in this position, to be in those moments. And so it's tough. And so, in these moments, you feel that you let your team down, and you feel that you this or that, and it's a good lesson learned for us. First time being in this situation for me and for us as a team, and I'm excited for what's to come. But obviously, going to go back and watch this and figure out how I can be better. And that's the exciting part.
The tying touchdown pass.
Mm-hmm.
You are scrambling for 10+ yards.
Yep.
What are you thinking during that time? What you're going to see when you turn around.
I ended up getting a little bit of pressure, and so try and break contain and just break angles and slow those guys down so that when I do turn around, I can have a little bit more time possibly to be able to find somebody. And they did a good job containing me, and so I just gained a little bit more depth. And I saw Cole one-on-one over there with everybody else on the other side, at least near the goalpost. I understanding that 14 was on him. He's a little bit smaller guy, and Cole's obviously a 6 foot tight end and things like that. So I just wanted to give my best ball and give him a shot. Understand it's 4th down and kind of game on the line. Well, was game on the line.
I know it's tough now, obviously, with how important this thing where it lost. Do you appreciate what you did with that throw and what Cole did and just the moment he provided?
It was cool in the moment, but I will say I can appreciate the organization, the city of Chicago. I can appreciate the sacrifice, the growth that we've had as a team, and I can appreciate the growth that I've had, the trust that I've built with Ben and other my other teammates and things like that. So those are probably the things that I can appreciate.
Do you think that you have another? I was just going to say to that play. Did you think here we are engineering another comeback? Did you kind of envision how this is going to end? Because you guys had so many comebacks.
Yeah, you obviously you want to be on the better side of it, so you're envisioning all good things and the moment you're envisioning going out and winning and putting up the game winning either field goal or touchdown and things like that. So yeah, you envision it, especially after that moment. You want to, like I said, you want to have those positive things in your mind in those moments to be able to go out there and try and win a game.
All of these great comebacks all season. What does this mean for next year? What does this mean for Lakers? Do you think of it as momentum, or is every year its own?
Every year it's its own. The core of this team, the young players, obviously the players that have some longer contracts and things like that. We got a good core that the organization done a good job of building, and so the growth that we've had and things like that is going to be enjoyable. We're going to be here for a little bit, and so I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the growth. I'm excited about being able to go back and watch this. I'm excited about being able to get back and next year being able to learn more than I did this year and keep growing and us as a team and organization to be able to keep growing.
Caleb Williams, the quarterback for the Chicago Bears, talking to the press after the game. Another opportunity for him to take a look at the tape. Like, he's on the flight to St. Kitts. Where is he going to watch that film? Like one thing for sure about Caleb Williams that we have to say, Cuzzo, we got to give him credit. So in year one, you and I could find Caleb Williams, in the city, kicking a little bit because there's Matt Eberflus, not a lot of accountability, and no one really able to tutor and really work with Caleb Williams to get better in year one. The whole team was a disgrace and a tire fire. In year 2, Ben Johnson comes in, and Ben Johnson has intensity of 1,000 suns. We learned that much, right? That dude is all about accountability, and this coaching staff, and I was able to glean that this coaching staff understood what the previous regime was not doing. And so it's almost like they had to be able to say, like, look, we're here for the first year. We are going to turn things around. And not necessarily from one loss record standpoint, because it had to be the attitude of the building first. Ain't nothing like taking your lunch into the meeting room and just just warming it up in the microwave and just bring it in and just start cutting away, not even looking at the video in front of you and just kind of eating your lunch or whatever under Eberflus and doing whatever you want to do. And then you never get a return on your investment as a coaching staff. You let the players put their feet up and just be relaxed and cool, but you never get the return on investment to the tune of 10 losses in a row. So they fired a coaching staff. And this one, there is no bring your food into the tape room, into the film room. You're going to make sure that you practice hard. I saw it myself. There was accountability across the board because they're a bunch of hard asses, these coaches, because they expect better. Did they expect 11-6? Probably not. But what they got is that a team that worked together and there was a bond. It wasn't these guys in their podcast talking shit about the Bears like they were on the Eberflus. These guys here work together, and I can tell you, a real bond with the team, and they worked together, and they gave us a magical season. Pretty good for year 1 of a coaching staff.
No, I agree, and shout out to Caleb. He slayed that press conference. He sat up to the podium, and he answered all the tough questions. So we now know who was responsible. We know that DJ Moore didn't flatten off his route, and he kept it vertical, even though he should have flattened off the route, and that led to the interception. So we don't have to wait until Monday, because Caleb was fierce with this attire and his ability to answer the difficult questions, and that's appreciated. We needed that, so we got some clarity on what happened by our quarterback, and hopefully we can build on this and we can have something special going forward. But it's not going to be easy. So I don't want the fans or anyone else to think like this will be easy to repeat this process. It won't. The Bears are going to have to work harder than they did this year to get back here next year. And they're going to have to improve in a lot of ways. That starts with Ben Johnson and Caleb and Ryan Poles and everyone else acquiring talent. But there's going to need to be improvement from everyone for us to get back here and then have better success.
Ryan Poles, he knows what he has to do in the offseason, but he can take solace in the fact that, man, this team really played hard and gave us so many memories. These come from behind victories. What the Bears proved is they went from being known as a lucky team to a really good football team that still needs to iron some things out. That is for damn sure, Wiley, because when you have 7 come from behind victories, like, the Bears, they just magically just win football games. No, they earned those wins. And people throughout the season talk about the 1-loss record and how it wasn't, the losses or the wins, especially the wins, were not aesthetically pleasing. And my whole rant on that is that when you have a schedule that comes out, you can't help who you play. You're supposed to win those games. Could you imagine if the Bears would have lost a lot of those games against teams that were not good? Just remember who the Bears were when they first came. They started off 0-2. We thought that the Bears were going in that same direction they were under Eberflus, that they had to straighten some things out and get rid of some of those old players for them to be good in year 2, year 3 under Ben Johnson. One thing for sure is that the Bears went from 0-2. People looked at that schedule and said, who do you beat? Well, who are the Bears coming into this season? Who were they?
Right.
They were a last place team with no accountability, and they beat teams that they got better at and that they were supposed to beat, and they beat teams that they weren't supposed to beat, like the Eagles. Like, how that happened? Because they blew their ass off the line of scrimmage. That's how they did that. How you beat the Packers twice. There's things that the Bears did that were really, really good in year 1 of the coaching staff. Hell, we wanted more. We didn't want the party to stop, but it stops tonight. But it doesn't mean that the party has to stop fully for Ben Johnson. Here's what I want, Wiley. I'm going to talk about this a lot with you in the spring and the summer as we get it ready for training camp. One thing I'm going to say is that I do not want the Ben Johnson era to be like the Matt Nagy era. I don't want that, because you remember year one of Matt Nagy. Hey, let's pull out all the trick plays, and here's the magic, and here's a sleight of hand, and here's the old shell game on the L, like all that stuff, right? I don't want that for year 2, year 3, year 4. All of a sudden, you get to this high of heights and be able to do all these great things, and then it starts to peter out to the point where you got to fire the coach. I don't want that. I want the Bears to be able to play with a high standard. And now they're spending a whole bunch of money at House Hall. Since they're doing that now, you got to spend it on your defensive line. You got to spend it on your facilities, everything else, and keep it at a certain standard. The standard's high now. If it goes backwards or goes downwards, now we're back to Matt Nagy. And I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to have just this one great season and all of a sudden now here's the thing. Because we know how the NFL works, you might take a couple of steps backwards or maybe a step back, but I don't want them to just keep going backwards where you're handing the North back to Green Bay or Detroit. Fight for it.
No, you're right. And what makes me optimistic that Ben won't become a Matt Nagy is that Ben Johnson had experience calling plays. He had called plays for a Lions offense that was successful for a couple seasons prior to coming to Chicago. And Matt Nagy had only gotten coffee for Andy Reid. So I'm optimistic that he won't fall into that trap of the Matt Nagys of the world. But to your point, you took the North this year, and you have 3 teams in the North who have playoff talent and who are looking to climb your back and get to the top of the North. So you have to hold them off. Plus, you have to continue to ascend in the conference as well as the NFL. So it was disappointing tonight because what we would have seen in this in the Final Four, we would have had 3 quarterbacks that were drafted in 2024 to make the championship game. And Caleb came a little bit short of that this tonight, but we'd have had 3 of the quarterbacks, and in 4 total if you count what Daniels did last year. It would have made the NFC championship, the AFC or the NFC championship game in their first 2 years. So hopefully we get back next year, and hopefully we're talking about a Super Bowl team instead of a team that came short in the playoffs.
And finally, the Steely E says Caleb had a vintage Jabrod sweater on. And if you're listening on the podcast, go back and find what Caleb Williams was wearing. You have to check that out.
But
check that.
Here's the thing, though, because you said that the right way. You didn't say that the way that we said. Caleb had on a vintage Jabot shirt.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
The way we said.
I know.
That's the way we said. You know that Jabot.
Yes, yeah. I was doing the national brand thing with him, trying to. Hopefully, they'll be a sponsor one day. I'll wear a sweater if they pay us. You and I both wear the sweater. So, yeah, man. You know what? You are correct. IB 4505. You're right. Caleb should have been wearing Under the Hood hoodie. And that gives us a segue to mention that we have our merchandise is available right now. See, that's why the Under the Hood audience is the best audience. So for those that are new here that just wants to get their Bears fixed, that's why we're here. That's why we are staying up and giving you this Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood podcast. It's because we've got our merchandise, like our hoodies and our t-shirts. We got plenty of those that's available right now. It's cold and a mother-in-law's kiss right now in the Midwest, that's for sure. That's why we've got the beanies, and that's why we've got the mugs, and we've got t-shirts for the ladies, and we've got so many things that's available to you right now. Go to the link that is in this podcast. It's Under the Hood, the merchandise store. It's available for you right now. It doesn't cost you anything to click the link. Just click the link and see if something's for you. And by the way, we talk about those hoodies. Because it's cold, man, protect your hoodie at all costs.
No, you're right, Cuzzo, because after this loss tonight, you're going to need a bottle of Alexander James whiskey.
Yes.
You're going to need a Under the Hood mug.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to need a Under the Hood hoodie, at least 2, because the person you're with is going to probably want yours. So you pour pour a little Alexander James whiskey into your cups for yourself. You can give her a teaspoon if she likes, and then you put on your under the hood hoodie, keep yourself warm, and then you get under those coming soon under the hood sheets, and then you have a great evening for yourself.
That's right. Make sure you get that, and make sure that Jamal lets you know that Caleb with his Al Jarreau sweater on, moonlighting, some fly by day. Yes, that was an unusual outfit by Caleb Williams for a strangely talented young man. Boy, the memories that we'll have for this year. The NFL Films is going to be lit. It's going to be on fire. All the stuff that how does Caleb Williams throw that ball to the tight end Cole Kmet? How does that happen? He just slings the ball up and just like all of a sudden he just falls right into the hands of Cole Kmet. You cannot give this season to Disney to make a movie out of. They'd be like, nah, no one will ever believe this. No, there's no way that on 4th and 8 that he could be able to throw that ball to Rome Odunze to keep a drive going against the rival Packers. There's just no way that he could be able to just go step for step with Brock Purdy in San Francisco. Like, if this was a movie script, even Lifetime, even Tyler Perry would say, nah, no one will believe this. This will not be a good movie. Even Tyler, who will take anything, by the way. Tyler Perry will take anything, especially if there's a little ratchet in it. Even he would look at this season like, no, Tubi can't have this.
In that moment, you probably should have gone for 2. Here's why, Cuzzo. Did you see the look on McVay's face? Did you see how the defense looked after that touchdown? They were reeling. You had snatched their souls out of them, and then you gave them a second chance. So maybe at that point you go for 2 and you put them away, and you live with the results. But that was a hell of a throw, hell of a catch. It would have. We're going to miss the greatness of the play because the Bears lost the game. The Bears win that game. It's on a highlight loop for the next week plus. But because they lost the game, we'll get highlights tonight, and that'll be it.
Okay, we'll have more Bears conversation definitely as we move forward, Cuzzo. But I'd like for you and I to be able to give the top 3 players for the Bears this season that we've enjoyed watching. So, I'll start in the middle and give you Joe Thuney. And the reason why is because Joe Thuney, pound for pound, you could say is the best player on the football team. The quarterback definitely should be in that conversation, but Joe Thuney and that offensive line, it's amazing what happens when you spend money, huh, Cuzzo? Yeah, it's not like you needed an offensive line to protect Caleb Williams like a hobo needs a ham sandwich, right? You need to make sure that the offensive line would protect them. And those guys stayed healthy for the most part. A little bit of a question mark at left tackle, as we know, but like from the center across, including Darnell Wright, those guys stayed healthy for the majority of the season, playing, what'd you say, 95% of the snaps, 99% of the snaps, and protected Caleb Williams' ass. But it starts for me with Joe Thuney. So I'll use him as a choice. You give me a choice.
I'll keep it up front, Cuzzo. I thought Darnell Wright had a great season, even with the one arm. So here's the guy you drafted with the 10th pick in the draft when you passed on what many considers to be an elite tackle. And I thought he had a hell of a year with one arm. He solidified he was nasty when you needed him to be nasty. So Darnell Wright gets one of my spots for the top 3 Bears for the season.
Okay. Does anybody on defense get the vote?
Yes. So here's what I'm going to go.
Go ahead.
No, I'm going to go with the guy who was on the Minnesota Vikings practice squad last year, Nahshon Wright. Nahshon Wright came in this year and was battling for a roster spot. And because of the Jalen Johnson injury, he ended up starting, and he should have made the Pro Bowl with his 6 interceptions, 3 forced fumbles. He found a way to stay on the field all season, and because of that, that kid is going to make a lot of money, hopefully for the other team and not the Bears, but he's going to make a lot of money. So Nashawn Wright gets one of my top 3 spots. So that's 2 rights for my first picks. What about you, Cuzzo?
Okay, so I gave you Joe Tooney. I'm going to give you Kevin Byard. And it's one thing to be a ball hawk, but also be a leader in that locker room. Kevin Byard, man, I don't know if everyone understands how it's important to have veteran presence in that locker room. Dudes that just got here, like a Grady Jarrett. I mean, he's bombastic. I mean, he's perfect for tomorrow. I mean, he should be at several area churches just speaking, Grady Jarrett, right? He's a bombastic speaker. Not a lot of production on the field because of injury, and he's a slower player than he was. But the point is that Kevin Byard, he holds a lot of that stuff together, that team, especially that defense. I've gone after that defense, but the point is that Kevin Byard has been such a ball hawk and a leader, so I'm going to use him as a choice. And the last one's going to be Caleb because he grew into the position.
Yeah, and I agree with Caleb for being the last one. Here's a kid who, at times played well last season, but you could tell he had no idea what he was doing. He didn't understand how to read defenses. He didn't have the best work ethic when it came to being prepared to play in the games. And we saw a kid do a 180 in those areas and continue to improve in the areas that he was doing well at. So I'm hoping that he can continue to build on this season. And then I'm hoping we can turn things around in the playoffs as well, because we're looking at 5 interceptions in the playoffs, and he had 7 for the entire season. So we want to get those numbers down going into the playoffs next year as well. But Caleb acquitted himself well this year, and I think he is now our franchise quarterback, and he should be around for the next 10-plus years.
Hey, he's the guy. There's no question about that. As the post-game show that we have here for Under the Hood with J Hood and Cousin Wiley, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Indeed, Southwest Airlines, they got their Rapids Rewards program. It is the airline of choice of yours truly, Jonathan Hood. At Southwest, we give you the power to control your Rapid Rewards balance. If your balance needs a little love, you can buy Rapid Rewards points anytime. But it doesn't stop there. You could gift or transfer your points to others or donate them to charity. Talk about making someone's day. Southwest Rapid Rewards. Click the link that's in the bio to check out the Rapids Rewards. And it's our way of saying thanks for checking out Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. That link, by the way, for those of you listening on the podcast, that's there for you as well. Not just for all of us on YouTube, but everyone else on the podcast. That link is live for you. And, of course, Alexander James Whiskey. That is the official whiskey of Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. We had an interview with Jesse Stewart, the founder of Alexander James Whiskey. You will really enjoy that story, but you'll enjoy the whiskey even more. The link is in the bio, alexanderjameswhiskey.com. Well, Cuzzo, this is our last Under the Hood post-game show for the Bears, but we got a lot more Bears to talk about as we go through the offseason, through the Super Bowl, the Senior Bowl. If players will show up there, it might be a few players showing up in Senior Bowl and get ready for the draft. But I think that we've done a great job of being able to supply some entertainment for our fans and our listeners. And so I appreciate you staying up. I know that she's upstairs waiting for you. So it's always good that you can put her to the side to carve out a few minutes for us here at Under the Hood.
Thank you for having me, Cuzzo. I've enjoyed this. Thank you to your fans because they've been tremendous, and looking forward to great off season and picking this back up for next year as well.
You are coming back on sooner, though, aren't you? I mean, I know that she's waiting up there, but you're coming back, aren't you? You are coming back on the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Just checking. Okay, just want to make sure that she's okay with this because you spent a lot of weekends with me, so want to make sure it's okay.
We're good.
Okay, all right. Well, that's good to know. Okay, don't forget we got those mugs, J Hood and Cousin Wiley mugs that are available right now, and we have got some T-shirts made and also some hoodies made for J Hood and Cousin Wiley. Make sure that you check those out as well. for Cousin Wiley, who is unshackled, who's unchained, and he could be on this show. This is Jonathan Hood. Thanks so much for checking out Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Make sure all of you that are right now, hit that subscribe button right now. Hit the subscribe button. Like, share, subscribe, and comment to everything that we do on Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. So long, everybody. You can go to her now. She's waiting. She's right there.